Homarie, whakalawhātu, Elliot Ikilei here. Now, I will do a quick speaky bit so that we can wait for our people to get back online. I didn't actually think about what to say, but I do have to say, usually I'm in a light mood and I really do have some enjoyment and some fun aspects, and I do like to laugh a bit and have a good time, even with the horrible things that may be occurring outside of us. Hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions, and that'll help me get over my little foggy mood. Reason why a foggy mood, you'll see why. You'll see exactly why I've got a very much a damper on the spirits a little bit, and we'll discuss that very soon. So we'll have a little chat and we'll wait for some of our people to jump on board. Hey, Christian Pareto. Yep, Seki. Very good. Good to see you. Talofa lava. Yep, whaamanui lia tue loinga. Happy for the Samoan week. So I hope you guys have done a few of the Samoan words that you can do, like uso and us. And whalavalave and lots of different words that might be out there. So always have a bit of fun. Always enjoy. Language weeks are awesome. I love all of the language weeks. My wife mocks me when I'm trying to speak Chinese sometimes. So, for example, when I say, the first time I say 吃饱了, 吃饱了 is basically that I'm full. I don't want any more food. 吃饱了. First time I said it, I went 吃饱了, and I ended up saying something like a leopard has eaten a newspaper or something random like that. And she just cracked up. So anytime there's a language week going on, hey, find out a new language. If you like a huiamora or makho, if you like the Safa sort of stuff, but make sure you have a great deal of fun. Language weeks are always fun, always helps you to learn different elements of different people, and that's what I love about things. So, well, that's the first couple of minutes, and I'm pretty sure all of our people have rolled in, so let's get started. Now, you heard Leighton talk a lot about some of the things that have gone on throughout the week, as well as answering those questions. For myself, I will start with something which might be considered old news. Because we have our sessions on Friday nights, some of the stuff that happened on Monday and over the weekend doesn't transfer until Friday. So as you know, the big saga with Mr. Muller's hat, his mega hat. Now it's quite interesting at the time. I was actually pretty buzzed. I thought it was really cool that Mr. Muller had a mega hat on his table, until you realize that it's actually paraphernalia. It's a hobby of his. He went over to the campaign. He had fun during it. He got paraphernalia, merchandise, souvenirs. Good on him, no problem. And then, of course, he had to apologize for some odd reason, or he had to put it away or not bring it or something like that. Mr. Muller, my very strong recommendation is if people do that, take it to the office, stick it to them. Don't just do what people sort of order you to do because of their own feelings. If you're doing something, don't apologize if something's not your fault. Apologize if it is your fault. Don't apologize if it's not your fault. Case in being, I have apologized to a particular candidate this week. They had a particularly woke moment. I pulled it out, but I should not have done that, and I apologize for it because it was a bit of a dick move. So that was on me. But if you haven't done something wrong, don't apologize for it. So Mr. Muller, however, it has been quite interesting to discover what's happened. Mr. Muller, of course, would not vote for Donald Trump. He would actually vote for Joe Biden, as he confirmed in an interview. That's quite interesting, I find, because Joe Biden, of course, very much a strong globalist, very much a liberal, very strong on the left, very much even in terms of pro-death and the elements that suit the very left-wing type of thinking. Not so much liberal, but more leftist type of thinking. So for myself, yes, I would vote for Donald Trump. In 2016, I would have voted for Ted Cruz. I would have been wrong, and that's because of the outcomes that have come out from Mr. Trump's presidency. He has brought unemployment for Hispanic and blacks down to the lowest ever. He has gotten rid of so many sex traffickers more than any other president. Whatever you may think personally about the man doesn't matter. The outcomes that he comes out with are for the betterment of his people and protecting his people, and that's what is important. So that was that element there. I also do notice that, sadly, Mr. Muller is also one of those who states or wants to look conservative, but is not quite conservative. So don't forget, Zero Carbon Bill, voted for. The UN Migration Compact, voted for. The fact that he has surrounded himself with some of the most pro-death people in Parliament does not suggest a conservative outlook. It suggests a conservative look, and that was also confirmed when he did state that his politics, or rather his conservatism, generally comes from his Catholicism, and that does not, however, translate out into his politics. So it's like saying I'm in politics, but I don't have anything driving me in politics. I'll just sort of float and be a little bit more pragmatic. That is not why we're here. We're here to make the best nation for our people, to protect New Zealanders, protect New Zealand interests and the New Zealand people and the families in it. That's what we're here for. That's what we need to do. So that was that area there. The other aspect that we saw, which was only a couple of days ago, was that myself and Fuyavai Alilima, we went out to have a look at the hotels that have been used for the isolation units. I don't quite understand why we have to do the media's job, but that's fine. What we found were that there were security guards and there were police, and there were very, very fascinating dynamics in each of the hotels. Many of them were actually barren. Many of them were just absolutely empty. And we have been asking the questions, even though there have been a couple of articles just simply stating about isolation units and the hotels being used for these isolation units, there's been no real deep dive, media deep dive or investigation into who is actually going into these hotels, how much money is it costing us, why is it week after week after week after week after week with indefinite timelines, with the possibility that we will be remaining here for the next not just weeks but potentially months. These questions are horrific, and it reminds me of when it was our party who exposed the gender ideology being used upon your children. Used upon your children. And we are immensely proud of that. We were immensely proud also when we were the ones to publicly expose the fact of the UN Migration Compact. We brought it out. Wonderfully, National Act jumped on after us to help support the opposition for that. Not only that, we were also the ones to bring up the fact that in South Auckland, that we were the ones to expose it, that the Oranga Tamariki were bringing out a new prison for young people, and that those who are in the high-risk areas would be moved into the community. And all of this is while we've been outside of Parliament. Wait until we get in. We're going to be cleaning, we're going to be draining, and we're going to be burning. That's how we roll. So we had the hotels aspect. Now, this is where I get a little bit of a downer, and I don't want to be a downer. It's just something that's sort of come up. We've heard throughout the lockdown that, you know, Miss Ardern, her boyfriend pronounced it as well for some odd reason, and the other parts, David Parker, and they're sitting there saying, hey, look, the lockdown is not impinging too much in terms of our medical needs. The New Zealanders are still being looked after, the cancer treatments and everything. Well, of course, we know that Stuff article, we're able to find out that a young man had some stomach cancer found. He was due to have life-saving surgery. Because of the government policies around lockdown, he was not able to engage in that. So instead, they had to stick him on chemo. That's the start of it. We now have more information, and I'll be bringing some of that up very soon, about some of the more disastrous effects of this brutal, cruel policy that has come from a government that purports to be kind and obviously honest and transparent. So as you know, Miss Ardern and the regular taxpayer-funded PR campaign has been pumping out day after day, smiling and cajoling and everything that they can do to say that things are wonderful and there's a progression and go hard, go early, the hashtag, when we know that all of that is actually inaccurate to false. Now, coming back out, now we have also seen that, the idea of treating race as to your placement on a surgery list is actually nothing less than racism. And I heard Sean Plunkett state that the Auckland DHB and the Kapiti Coast DHB, the fact that they are putting Māori and Pasifika people, just based off their ethnicity, higher up the surgery list as apartheid. And at first, my first reaction was, no, mate, that's not correct. Apartheid included the beatings, the tortures, the brutal oppression, the systematic and de-education and the constant harassing. But in actual fact, accuracy-wise, Sean Plunkett is quite correct that you are technically looking at the apartheid system being brought into New Zealand healthcare system. Your quality of placement on a surgery list is based on your skin colour, your ethnicity, whatever someone wants to call it. As a Māori and a Pasifika person, both myself, hailing from Niue and Tonga, as well as England, and Ngāti Raukawa, Te Atiawa, I am more important, according to the healthcare system, I am more important than many of you and my wife. And that is offensive to me as a person who is a New Zealand person who loves this nation, jealously loves this nation. So the idea of saying that my life is more important than someone else's based on my skin color is wrong. It's wrong. And it's racist. And I have spent many years fighting against this nonsensical idea, the nonsensical myth of institutional racism. This is institutional racism. I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm actually sitting here stating this, that the idea of putting Māori Pasifika up on a list because they are brown is actual institutional racism. That is a policy being put into the institution of health to say this race, these races are being put above these other races. And it's disgusting. And I want to read you something. Now, our team end up doing a better job than media on this stuff. And the fact that, that they don't listen, that they don't seem to investigate, that they want to deal with some little dramas rather than big dramas is horrendous. So our team have been able to confirm a number of people who have been directly affected by the government policies of the lockdown, the style in which they did it, and also this new policy of actually bringing apartheid into the healthcare system. So I want to read out to this. We were able to confirm this. And I'm going to read it, and I'm also going to change a couple of the identifying words. I'm going to remove identity from it. And this was written very closely afterwards. So this is what was written. I wrote this earlier today after a bad night dwelling on the latest racist policy. This has pushed me from the top of the urgent wait list, to number 88. I have waited for 3 years in excruciating pain for my turn for so-called elective surgery, whilst caregiving my terminally ill wife, who is suffering a horrible and slow end. Now that I have deteriorated to the point that I am in great danger of being paralyzed from the waist down, the goalposts have been moved again, just as I was about to get the necessary spinal fusion. By the end of each day, I am writhing in pain. There is not a day that I don't think about buying a log truck. And for those of you who know, hope is a real bastard. It only prolongs the suffering. On Tuesday, I was referred yet again, this time for a cancer investigation, and so the problems compound. I don't have any faith in that happening in good time. As a good friend pointed out, we have no quality of life. David Seymour's end-of-life choice bill has been watered down too far. We should be able to ask for a pill that will let us leave with some dignity. I am all out of hope. And, I fight against euthanasia. And the reason being is because my job for so many years has been to help people see that hope, to find hope, to hold on to it. And I think that's what really gets me is it's not the it is it's all the processes and can be the pain, the ideas of what's going on. So that last sentence, I am all out of hope. Now, for you who are out there who are youth workers and stuff like that, you know full well what I'm talking about is that we fight against hopelessness itself. The idea that everything is gone, that life has got no more meaning, that I would rather go. I don't want to be here anymore. And there's more, but this is cruelty. This is a government that deals in cruelty. There's nothing I can say beyond that. It is not only, racism, saying it's racist is merely a buzzword, and it is a buzzword that has been diluted to the point of meaningless. But this is life and pain and struggle that we will all have fights with. And the fact that we have a government who is allowing policies, brutal, cruel, vain policies to go through. Why? Because it makes them feel better for a magical fairy dust called equity. It's utterly wrong. It's brutal. Now that's here. That's in New Zealand as we speak right now. Now our team has been collating a great deal of messages and information. We're processing it. We're getting things confirmed. But we are following these up, and we want to demand the hard questions being put to a government that is so brutal as to redefine kindness as cruelty.